Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. On a side note, I was actually going to get a few more stuff done tonight, but I was a bit overzealous in my thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's 2. It went like 70 minutes. So, this won't go that long, but because of that, I don't have as much time as I did tonight, but we'll get to it. If you've sent in a paid request, I'll get to it as soon as I can. If you do want to send in a paid request for any type of movie review, re-review, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, tier lists, rankings, video game playthroughs, live streams, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal, do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. So, thank you. Now, this is for Jonathan, who's been very generous, very kind. Thank you so much, Jonathan. And he wanted my thoughts on Godzilla, King of the Monsters from 2019. Now, I have seen this film before, but I did watch it again, so I had to be a bit more fresh on the review. It was directed by Michael Dougherty, which did this pretty fun horror anthology called Trick or Treat. But then he did one called Krampus. I think he did that. I wasn't really a fan of that. And sadly, this was the last film he did, and this was 2019. Now, the whole Monsterverse, I'm not really into it as much as other people. The only one I truly liked in that whole universe was Kong Skull Island. Kong Skull Island I thought was fun. I liked the version of King Kong in that. I liked the visuals. I thought the action scenes were understandable and didn't seem murky or confusing. I really liked John C. Reilly. I thought he was a lot of fun in those. It won that movie, I should say. I liked that it took place in the 70s. Had this little apocalypse now, Vietnam kind of angle. The usage of music from that time period. The color scheme. You have one death scene that reminds you of Cannibal Holocaust. If you know, you know. If you don't, you go see it and figure it out. Figure it out yourself. But I really liked Kong Skull Island. Again, that's the only one I liked of that universe. Godzilla vs. Kong was not for me. The sequel, definitely not for me. 2014 film, I call Blue Balls the movie. This one, I find it more tolerable than those other ones I mentioned, but I still think Kong Skull Island is easily the best. Well, I'll put my favorite. I don't hate this film, but I don't love this film. I'm very much in between of this film. I'm kind of like, it is what it is. It doesn't make me mad, but I don't feel the need to own it in my collection. So I'm fairly indifferent on it. Now, there's some notable people in the cast. I mean, Kyle Chandler, who's been in quite a few stuff. I think he's in that new Ben Affleck, Matt Damon film, The Rip, that came out. He's been in a lot of stuff throughout the years. Vera Farmiga. You got Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. You got Bradley Whitford, who I remember, he was the bad guy in Billy Madison. He was in The Cabin in the Woods. He's a good character actor. Charles Dance, my sweet brother Numse, for The Golden Child. Ken Watanabe, who was in the previous Godzilla film. Zhang Ziyi, I forgot she was in this, from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Rush Hour 2. Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson, I forgot he was in this. Joe Morton, I forgot he was in this. And actually, Joe Morton, Sally's only in like one or two scenes. He plays the older version of the guy in Kong Skull Island, who was with John Goodman, and I'm like, oh shit. So that character's in this film is played by Joe Morton? Why is he not in the film more? Why is he only in like one or so scenes? I mean, Joe Morton's a great actor. He was in Terminator 2, Miles Dyson. He was in Speed. I mean, whatever. So, before I go further, the plot of the film is you have the group that monitors these titans, these monsters called Monarch. And while they're monitoring these monsters, you also have Vera Farmiga, who is the scientist, and Millie Bobby Brown is with her mom. Now, her mom and dad are separated. Kyle Chandler, back amidst the first movie, their son, Millie Bobby Brown's brother, died. Since then, everything's kind of broken down, and while Millie Bobby Brown cares for her dad, will email her dad, she stays with her mom. Kyle Chandler just likes to study wolves and other stuff and study animals, and he's kind of away from all the other shit. But Vera Farmiga, with Millie Bobby Brown, they look into this research, and eventually they find Mothra, or the larva version of Mothra. And Vera Farmiga has found this. She's created this device to be able to somewhat communicate with these monsters, these titans. But then, as they're doing that, these bad guys come in. They are eco-terrorists, led by Charles Dance. They shoot most of the scientists, except Vera and Millie Bobby Brown. Take them hostage, and pretty much they go to Antarctica. Meanwhile, Monarch gets Kyle Chandler, and they realize something's up, and your wife, your ex-wife, and your daughter's been taken, and eventually they find out they're going to Antarctica. After an almost run-in with Godzilla, they get there, and then, long story short, you find out Vera Farmiga is actually with the eco-terrorists and releases King Ghidorah. I shake my head because the reason I would say I don't hate the film is there could be some pretty nice visuals. Like good visual shots, visual moments. The first appearance of Godzilla in the water that's swimming towards Monarch, and you just see the blue glow of its spikes, its spine. When King Ghidorah is unleashed and he kind of gets on his hind legs and really shows his presence. When Mothra, its wings sprout, and when each monster gets its grand introduction, it feels epic for fans. I don't think Kyle Chandler does a bad job acting. It's just his character is a pile of nothing. And he deserves better. He's a good actor. And so a lot of these, like Ken Watanabe, like a lot of these actors are pretty decent. I don't even think Millie Bobby Brown is annoying in the movie. It's just that her character is just really nothing. She really does nothing until the very end of the film. Most of the film, she just following the tales of her mother, even though she pretty much sees her mom ready to kill her dad. Because when King Ghidorah rises up and Kyle Chandler and them are trying to escape, and King Ghidorah, Billy Bobby Brown grabs it and tries to mess with it, but then it gets taken away, and by this point she kind of should be figuring out that the mom is in cahoots with these terrorists. Now maybe you say she wants to fix her mom or help her. And then later on she does say, "You're a monster," but she doesn't really do much of anything until again the very end. But there's some potential of some decent fights. There's some potential of some decent monster bashes. There's definitely more stuff happening than Godzilla 2014. But while I said I'm indifferent, if I have to pick, I'm more negative than positive on the film. The reason being, the script is very, at times, basic. These monsters get together and they gotta fight, and it's not really a unique take on it. And if you think of a unique take, it's a really dumb take where the mom is helping Charles Dance release these things because they must await to heal Earth from what humans did. So you're pretty much potentially making humans extinct to help Earth. And while you constantly and consistently see innocent people die, including your scientist friends get shot up by Charles Dance and his crew, other innocent people get killed, and various TV screens and monitors, and you pretty much tell them, you guys have your bunkers, go into them. I'm like, what about all the innocent people and kids and babies and children that will die? How is this going to save humanity? Or she doesn't give a fuck about it. She just wants to heal the Earth. I'm like, she's a horrible fucking character. She's a villain that at times is like they want us to feel bad when she dies. I'm like, no. When she dies at the end, I'm like, good. They should have stomped on her ass and swallowed her and shot her out of Godzilla's ass. Because she's a shithead. Fuck this character. She's a bitch. A murderous, evil bitch. Don't try to make me feel sorry about her fucking bullshit. She's an evil bitch. Zhang Ziyi calls her a bitch. She's right. And then there are times that it feels like a whole lot of nothing is happening. In particular, when Godzilla's hurt and they gotta kind of give all this exposition, dialogue. We gotta do this and do this and do this. And how many nuclear warheads you got. We gotta do this and do this. And we gotta heal Godzilla. When we fucked him up. We fucked him up because we did this oxygen destroyer, which is a nod to the first original 50s Gojira, which, yeah, that had an oxygen destroyer. But it fucked up Godzilla, but King Ghidorah didn't get fucked up because there's this exposition where actually he's an alien. King Ghidorah's an alien, and he's a false god, and all this other stuff. And there are some nice moments of music that are odes to the original, like when Godzilla awakens after they kickstart his heart, so to speak. And you have that classic dun 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 dun. Or sometimes you hear the classic Godzilla roar, stuff like that, but you need more than that for a good film. You need more than references. You need more than nods. And while some of the action could be kind of entertaining, like when Rodan entered the picture, because to follow the events, we introduced to the characters, which I'll get to that, why I do that in a few minutes. They follow to Antarctica. King Ghidorah is alive again. Godzilla tries to fight him, gets his ass kicked in less than 2 minutes. Kyle Chandler gets knocked out, wakes up. They find out what Vera Farmiga's doing. They get to near Mexico. Rodan is alive now. Then they find out that King Ghidorah is coming towards them as well. So they lead Rodan, the King Ghidorah, for them to fight. So they give time to evacuate as many people as they can from this town that's nearby. Or nearest by them. until Godzilla pops up again. And that's when they throw the Oxygen Destroyer and fuck up Godzilla. But King Ghidorah's like, that shit don't mean nothing to me. Fuck y'all. I'm the king of the monsters. And all the monsters that have arisen bow down towards him. Then they did this overlong thing where they resuscitate, bring back Godzilla. Watanabe sacrifices his life because he needs to have it right there. And I think they mentioned his character is dying anyway. I believe they do from the radiation or something like that. I forget. And then Godzilla comes back, and then you have Millie Bobby Brown taking this thing to kind of bring all the monsters to there. And then Godzilla fights King Ghidorah, and Rodan fights Mothra, and Rodan gets fucked up by Mothra, and then Godzilla gets fucked up by King Ghidorah again, and then Mothra gives her life for Godzilla, and then Mothra's energy goes to Godzilla's body, and then like all that stuff I'm mentioning, the only unique thing would be probably Rodan versus Mothra. But we've seen other Godzilla films. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take it back a bit. That whole thing with the characters. The characters suck in this movie. I know someone could say, well, it doesn't matter about the characters. There are Godzilla films I enjoy that, yes, the characters are not up to snuff. But they have other stuff going for it that I could overlook it. There's either a campy charm like Godzilla versus Megalon. Jaguar! I enjoy that film. Or it's very unique and creative like The Smog Monster. I really enjoy that one. Or it has more of a tighter story like Gojira from the original of the 50s. Or they do have good character development, and that's what happened with, I wish I had it here now, Godzilla Minus One. Godzilla Minus One, to me, was much more surprising, much more satisfying. Where when the Godzilla scenes happened, they felt, something about them felt unique, but I really liked the story. I really liked the characters. And it was interesting direction they took with the characters. And that goes to prove to you that yes, you can make a Godzilla movie where the characters are interesting and you give a shit. So for those who say no, Godzilla Minus One proved that you can do that. Here though, I'm sorry, I don't give a shit about the family drama between Kyle Chandler, and it's not his fault, or Vera Farmiga, whose character's complete bitch, or Millie Bobby Brown, who really does nothing until the end. She just kind of stares at things. Yeah, it's hard for me to give a fuck about any of these characters. Watanabe, I liked he's a good actor. Bradley Whitford I like because I like him as a personality. I think he's a good character actor. But the actual characters don't really draw me in that much, so you're just waiting for the next monster bash. And then when you get them, the way it's shot, it's always murky in this movie. Because it's storm, rain, clouds, and it's always murky, like very dark. So sometimes it's hard to see. And because this is the era of CGI, there's so much CGI, and there's so many times where you see like the human perspective, it comes off like a Transformers movie. There are times where the humans, in the third act, Kyle Chandler's looking for Millie Bobby Brown, and the military are there to try to help Kyle Chandler and try to find Millie Bobby Brown. It reminded me of when Shia LaBeouf was with the soldiers in fucking Transformers 3, Dark of the Moon. You see these things battling, but even that is more broad daylight, so you see more of the action, while here it's murky and cloudy, and so it's hard to see, and it's still, like, you want to see more of that monster action, but it's cut away to these humans doing this, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck about you. I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck about you. I care about that. Let me see that. Not this. And really what this movie made me want was more of a Rodan movie. Just the scenes of Rodan I like. Rodan is an underused monster. I haven't seen it forever, but I remember liking the original Rodan movie. Again, I haven't seen that in forever. I like the idea of this fire demon, creature, this firebird. The one scene where it flies over the town, and that was a cool human perspective shot where you see this massive thing fly and people flying because of the wind. Like it's a hardcore hurricane flying to their demise. When Rodan is fighting the fighter jets and is either clawing them or doing this barrel roll or spin maneuver to wipe out the fighter jets, I'm like, can't I see a Rodan movie? I want to see a fucking Rodan film instead. We've had countless Godzilla films. There's even been a couple Mothra films. Let's see another Rodan film. I want another Rodan film. That's what I wanted to see because those were my favorite parts of the goddamn movie. And are there films that I can like that have a ton of CGI? Of course. But when I see movies like this and everywhere in the sky and the landscape, everything is just so CG and digital, I just don't feel it as much as I should. I just get taken out of it. And I don't feel as excited or as enthralled as I did back in the day, seeing those low budget models being crushed and smashed and people in suits crashing into things. And because, yeah, while I can admit some of them are pretty cheap models, there's something still physically there that my escapism and my mind can gravitate and grapple towards. And I just find that more endearing. Now, Godzilla Minus One has CG, but I thought that was handled more appropriately and just more pleasing, easy to see without feeling murky than it did in this. And people are, are you sure this isn't a rant? I say, it's nothing that makes me mad. I just watch it and go, okay. Kind of that reaction. Because I've seen far worse movies, but I've seen far better movies too. And again, even with just Godzilla himself, I was never big on his design in this universe. It's not god-awful, but I wouldn't say I love it. And he just looks a bit like a chunky, I don't know. And just stuff that's just too familiar. Humans interacting with Mothra. I've seen them multiple times in other previous Godzilla films. Mothra dying and giving her energy to someone. I've seen that done multiple times in previous Godzilla films as well. Again, the only new thing was I don't remember ever seeing Mothra and Rodan fighting. That was probably the fight I was looking more forward to. Like, I want to see just that fight. And that's how weird I am. I'd rather see the Mothra versus Rodan fight. That was the more interesting fight to me. But, what the hell? Oh, and Godzilla, I know this is a trope, but goddamn, Godzilla sometimes comes off more of a weakling than people want to give credit to. What I mean, I get first time he gets his ass kicked, because he can't win right away, or wouldn't be much of a movie. But then when he gets resuscitated by the warheads, the nuclear bombs, he fights for a little bit, but he still gets his ass kicked. so that, number one, Mothra, who took down Rodan by himself, then gives her life. I don't know, is Mothra him or her? Maybe a her. Gives her life to give Godzilla some energy. And then even then, the humans have to get King Ghidorah away to give Godzilla time to get situated. And that's where Vera Farmiga is like, I will do it. Good. But, okay, Millie Bobby Brown's character is crying. I get it's her mom. I'd be like, fuck that bitch. Goodbye, bitch. Don't hit the... Go suck on the tail. Her character should die like that one girl in Jurassic World at the end. That poor lady. If you've seen Jurassic World, what I mean by poor lady, if you know, you know. Dragged away and then dunked and... if you know, you know. But it's like, goddamn, like they got zap him with warheads. So not only is he back, but he's even more charged more than before. So they had to do that. Then Mothra had to give him her super juice. Then we gotta give him time. It's like, how much fucking help does Godzilla need? A lot of goddamn help to then call yourself the king of the fucking monsters. Rodan didn't get that much goddamn help. None of these other monsters get that much goddamn help. Shit. That's like, a WWF match where your champion gets helped by like 2-3 people to hit the bad guy. And then, the champion won with a leg drop. Yay. I'm like, well, yeah, he had a couple people helping him too. To me, I don't count that as much of a win. But that's just me. Godzilla vs. Megalon, he's coming in and helping Jet Jaguar and beats the shit out of both of them. Including drop-kicking. Kind of gliding on his tail. He drop-kicking fools in that movie. Godzilla Final Wars, he killed everybody. Granted, the fights were too quick, but he kicked everybody's ass in Godzilla Final Wars. I just wish some of the fights were longer. But GMK, that's still the Godzilla you don't want to fuck with. That's like with the dead eyes, the white eyes. That's a Godzilla you don't want to fuck with. Like, man, that's a badass motherfucker. And it's Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, all monsters. It has a really overlong title, but people call it GMK. That is up there with one of my favorite Godzilla films. That's a guy you don't want to fuck with. But like, that was a unique take on it. Like, Godzilla's a villain because he's like the ghosts of the dead kind of repurposed together, and he's got white eyes. So again, he's like remind me of like a Deadite from Evil Dead and the music's like a horror movie. Boom, dum, 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 boom, dum, dum, dum. I'm like, oh shit. And that's the thing, it's just, there's been so many other Godzilla films I could point to and either have more fun with, more entertainment with, or deeper, like after this, Godzilla -1. That this just comes off as, there's a couple neat visual, there was enough cool visuals to create a good trailer. Like the trailer with the I forget what the music is. Ba da 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 da. I've heard the music before. I can't remember what the music was. But yeah, like if you look at the trailer, it's a really good looking trailer. But it shows all the stuff in the movie. So take that for you will. And I don't give a fuck about Millie Bobby Brown. I didn't give a shit much about the human characters. I really didn't care much about the story. The monster battles, it was hard to see. Again, the only monster stuff I enjoy was Rodan. or Rodan versus Mothra, or Rodan versus, like, Rodan is the Teen of the Monsters to me. That's what they should be called, Rodan, Teen of the fucking Monsters, is that's the only thing I want to talk about. But anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you in the next video. I should make like a fucking thumbnail with me fucking hugging Rodan, or since I'm talking about it so damn much. Thanks for watching, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.